Chapter 43. When, at the end of February, they arrive at Newark, the surveyors find, secure behind the bar, a pile of correspondence forwarded to them by Mr. Chew, wherein lies news both cheery and crushing. There is the possibility of further engagement in America, measuring a degree of latitude for the Royal Society. There is also a letter from John Bird with news of Maskelyne's elevation to H.M. astronomer. You were expecting me to scream, weren't you? No, Mason, thou being a grown man and all. Actually, I'm quite relieved. Didn't need that on my mind, did I? Aha! Let us be blithe about it, for goodness sake. What a wonderful omen under which to begin the West Line. Mason, raising his tankard with an abruptness advisable only in rooms where one's face is known. At the very moment he was elevated, I lay flat upon a back that for all I knew was broken, in a desert place in New Jersey. We're cursed. You knew that. Dixon tries to bear down and attend closely. And none could have foreseen. Oh, Maskelyne knew that Bradley was ill. Mason, attempting to be chirpy, is less easy to bear than Mason in blackest melancholy. Everyone knew it, as everyone knew that Bliss would come on only as a caretaker, for he as well was old and ailing. Yet there should be time enough left him for each aspirant to make his interest as he might. Why, aye, and yet you always knew he cultivated. Cultivated? Poe! Maskelyne caressed and slithered, insinuating himself into an old man's esteem for having done nothing, really. One more lad from Cambridge, clever with numbers, though none beyond that damned Tripos Ridling, who but happens to be Clive of fucking India's fucking brother-in-law. Ah, Dixon, this seventh wrangler, this bilious, windy, hypnotic in the herbal of human character, this mean-spirited intriguer, his usage of Mr. Harrison and his chronometer, how contemptible! Few are his ideas. Lunarian is his only faith, to plod his entire project. He will never make any discovery on the order of aberration nor nutation. He is unworthy, damn him, to succeed James Bradley. His face is wet, more with spittle than tears. Mason. Dixon by now has learned to stay at a respectful distance and not to rely too heavily upon touch as a way of communicating. You believed? Really? Oh, well, really. It's like a woman, isn't it? You look at each other, you think, of course not. She thinks, of course not. Yet the alternatives hang about, don't they? Like wraiths. City matters. Would I know anything about that? I was up there 4 years. I lost 2 women I loved. God help me. I lost Bradley, dear to me as well. Were tears sixpences, I'd have more invested in that miserable hilltop than Masculine could borrow, be the co-signer Clive himself. Well, let him never sleep. Let him pace those rooms, one after another, in the idle silences of the afternoons, till he hears the voices telling him he has no right there, and to go away. Let him stand at last in the octagon room, and shiver in the height of summer. Let him fear to stay up for stars that culminate too late. Ah! Mason, aren't Maskelyne and Morton both Cambridge men? Wasn't it Morton who put his name forward? They must have wanted one of their own. The last 3 ARs were all Oxford men. There's a difference. Mason stares, then says slowly, yes, Dixon, there is a difference. And he went in as a bloody Caesar. I could have done that. Don't you think I was one of their own? What then, the bastard son, the faithful old drudge in the background? Haven't I any standing in this? Is that what this fucking exile in America's about then? Morton and his fucking Royal Society to get me out of the way so that Maskelyne can go prancing up to Greenwich, freed of opposition. So, I'm dragged along in the wake of your ill fortune, eh? Another bonny mess. Might teach you to take care whom your name gets attached to. Ah, ruin. He pulls his hat over his eyes and begins to pound his head slowly upon the table. According to this, Dixon soothingly, as if 'twere a fan waving a page, enclosed with the letter clipped from the Gentleman's Magazine of the December previous. There were, it seems, 10 competing for the job. Betts, Bevish, Short, so on. Any of those names lie to match? Though reaching the outskirts of forbearance, can he really continue? Yes, he ought to. Either Mason cannot admit there's a class problem here, or even this deeply compromised, he may yet somehow keep faith that in the service of the heavens, dramatic elevations of earthly position are to be expected of these times, this reign of reason, by any reasonable man. Very well. Mason, you are a miller's son. That can never satisfy them. What of it? Mason snaps back. Flamsteed was a maltster's son. Halley was a soap boiler's son. Astronomers royal are supposed to be social upstarts, for mercy's sake. And our friends in the company, inflecting this, however, with a snort and a sidewise tilt of the head, assuming Dixon knows roughly how Sam Peach and Clive of India might sort out upon the company's own chain of being. Did you and Maskelyne talk about any of this when you were together at St. Helena? Are you insane? Oh, off and on. And thee? Bradley's name may have come up. And Maskelyne, may I speculate, said, has he given any thought to a successor? Why, that's amazing. You might have been there. What is it about you people? Some mystical gift, I imagine. And he didn't say, Mason, though I clearly would welcome your support, I'm going to have this AR job with or without it? Anything like that? Why are you trying to get me to relive this? It was unpleasant enough the first time. So as to avoid it myself, of course. I shall get through this, Dixon. Were I thee, I should make him feel guilty every chance I got. Perhaps he doubts his own worthiness. Thou must never make it too obvious, of course. Always the dignified sufferer. Yet there is no predicting what advantage there thou may build upon his uncertainty. Why, bless me, sir, you are a Jesuit after all. Sinister Alfonso, move aside. Sheathe that stiletto, wicked Giuseppe. Here is the true Italian art. Aye, oh, why, I am simple as a pony, sir, born in a drift, a corf for my cradle, and naught but the back shift for schoolmasters there.